Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Master Data Services. In the last video in 2022 SQL Server, we configured the Master Data Service successfully, and now you can see we have the web version UI up and running. Now the next step, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a model just to make sure that we are able to interact with the master data services. So let's move on and go to the system administration. System administration is more like the admin area where you give access to the people who need to manage the master data services for your organization, because it gives you all the options to create, manage the models, entities, user permission, and everything else, right? So let's get in, and we're gonna see, because I just spin it up after a while, so it might take some time. Yeah, all good. So you can see we have the option. We don't have any deployments, so management, deployments. Let's see what's bringing in. By the way, it's just a fresh installation, so I don't believe we're gonna have anything under the deployment, but let's see. I'll just let it load it while we are working. So what I'm gonna do, like I mentioned the other time, so the model is more like the main boundary that encompasses your entities and all the objects together. So obviously the master data set, it retains some information, and that information is retained in the form of entities, right? So if we quickly go and do, yeah. Right. So, and obviously the information has been architected, depends upon the organization culture, right? So we just hide it here. So now if I just show you, so your model is more like different entity, different boundaries that keep the information entities separate, right? And these entities have some special attributes, like we have seen in the other day, and I published the article, and I also published the similarities and the differences between the reference data and master data. So that kind of special entities, we generally keep it in here, which is less frequently updated in the modern enterprises, and has to be managed centrally, so it can convey the true message all across the organization, and also from top to bottom, right? So within these boundaries, obviously we're gonna have different sort of uh information pieces, which we normally call entities, right? So let me just see if I can put scope. So these entities are bounded by the model. So obviously, and the model define the restriction on these, on the access and the management of these entities, right? So we can safely control who should have access to the entities by giving them permission on the main model, right? So that's the whole concept of information architecture in setting up the model and then entities. So that's the I would say a very high level concept. And now from the information architecture perspective, now let's deep in, and we're gonna create our first model. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call it, let's give a, a project name that we are trying to do, AG data quality, MDS, right? Master data services, right? So AG data quality MDS, what it will do, it will retain all the rules that we will apply to validate our data, that whether the data is valid or not. lazy on that. Rules, incoming, internal and external data, right? So I'm gonna leave the log retention at the system setting, right? And if we want, we can keep the logs for a particular day, right? And I'm not going to create the same. If we check this box, it's gonna create the same entity with this similar name like AG data quality under score MDS, which is obviously not the rational at this stage. I'm good, so I'm just gonna uncheck, and that's how easy it is. So you just need to hit save, and the MDS will create the model for you. Just give it a couple of seconds. Yeah, it's all good. You can see my name is there. I have actually, it's created on 24th. So all the audit information in there, right? So one thing, obviously I need to bring it on from the last data governance article that I have published on the LinkedIn. I just want to show you how this the attributes or the dimension that I mentioned in the data governance, how you can implement them using the master data services of SQL Server. Because obviously one side is theory, the other one is the practical, how we can apply those on our day-to-day work and get it across the line for the organization to benefit from what we are proposing, right? So let me quickly see if I can bring my article here with me. I just need to see because yeah, and that's my latest article. No, I think it was my post. I didn't convert it into the article yet. There we go. Yeah, data accountability, data quality and integrity, and data security and compliance, data lifecycle management, and data documentation and metadata. Right. So data accountability, which obviously allow us to make sure to record all the actions. So we can make people accountable for their action. Right. So these timestamps you can see that's gonna actually now keep the information in the system that who has created this model when it has been created, right? So that will later on used by the auditors to make sure that everything has been properly audited, right? Just a quick note on that. Now, as soon as you highlight your model, and if you remember in our last series, we have seen it's pretty straightforward. Once you highlight it, you can either edit the properties and you can go and you can create your entities, right? So in this video, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create the entities and then we'll go and add some rules, some data in the entity to just see that everything is working, right? So make sure your model has been selected from the top side of the screen, and because currently I only have one model, so you can see it has already been selected, which is good. I'm just going to hit add. And now, so the first entity which I'm going to create. So for example, I have the country list, like I mentioned the other day. Countries generally is a standard list that we use to validate multiple entities or information assets in our organization, right? So what I'm gonna do, let me create. Okay, I need the country codes, right? And I'm just going to prefix with en, standard countries, name and codes, right? And code can be two letters or three letters, and I'm also keeping the name, sorry, name of the countries, right? Because if I'm maintaining this standard list in here, I can validate all the data against this standard country codes, which will help me to qualify my data, whether it's part of the employee information or customer information or the address information of the incoming invoices. So country behave in many different aspects in the organization, right? So we can create the staging table name. Otherwise, Microsoft create a generic one for us. It has its own naming convention that it will do. But if you just want to do it, so you can later on look into it. So let's see. Always give a proper naming convention to your table so you can understand, and later on once you document, you can refer these table into your documentation with the and try and explain the meaning of these prefixes or suffix, and people who come after you, it's going to be a really blessing for them to concern the documentation and look at them and then understand what you have built, so they can take it to the next level instead of inventing the wheel because of the lack of understanding. All right, so transaction log type, we keep it at the member level, but we can also go at the attribute level. So that's all the auditing information that the SQL Server is going to capture for you, or the, I would say, master data service will store for you. And that's where it comes towards the point of accountability, that we are capturing any action that is applying on our information assets, which are sensitive for the organization, right? We want to make sure the, if someone is changing anything on the attribute level, we need to capture that information, that who did it, when it has been done, right? So because that will give the auditors the confidence, yeah, the information change has been captured, and they can validate the auditing process, right? And people across the organization, they can trust the data once they know that, okay, whatever action has been happened, they have been captured properly, right? So we'll keep it on the member level. Generally, the records are started with the auto number, and in the master data services, it has been called as code. Once you create an entity, master data services add two default column. One is name, the other one is code, right? So that's the default attributes. You can use them or you can ignore them. You can create your own, but just for the sake of simplicity, yeah, I'm going to create a code, and that's more like the auto number concept. Never use auto number as your primary key. It's a very immature concept to use the auto numbers for your primary key, especially if you are working with complex system. I still have seen the system in my career where they are using for example, customer ID or student ID as 1001, 2002, which is a very immature approach, right? Because generally in the enterprise system, we have to make sure our primary keys are really unique and conveying the message if we are pushing the data into our data warehouse or analytical system. But anyway, this is the dev, so I'll start with one. I don't need data compression. I have enough space on this system, but you can compress your data, where obviously the performance is going to impact accordingly, because it's going to compress and decompress while you are accessing the data or inserting the data, right? We don't need the approval required, but if we need that, okay, there is a proper governance system in place where you are behaving as a data steward. And by the way, right now I'm behaving as a data steward because I'm creating the asset in the company, and that requires sometime the approval from the data governance committee, right? Because who needs to know that what has been created, what's the rationale behind it. So they are across it, right? There's always a proper process flow implemented in the organization, which allow you to control the creation of the information assets. And let me show you the every part of this square is an entity. It's a unique entity which gonna define some sort of information asset that play a very vital role in the organizational information platform, right? So we need to be very careful that who can create it, and once he or she creates, there should be a process that inform people that it has been created, and we seek their approval to keep them engaged, right? It's not like the isolation where they can go and they can build things in their isolation environment, and once they leave, nobody has any idea, and people start avoiding the to take the ownership. So that's pretty much it. I think let me hit the save button. Awesome. So now we can see we have more options available. We can go and we can create attributes. We can create explicit hierarchies, indexes, attribute groups, and business rule, right? So each and every part of these are so each and every option is part of the entity, and it contributes some way or the other into the information management. The essence in here, the data is going to be low, so we just need to make sure we are properly managing the critical or sensitive data in the master data services, and we keep a control of all the auditing and logging, so anything that has been managed in here is trusted by the business, right? So let me just go in here and create a couple of attributes. So name I'm gonna keep because I know name will refer to the country name because it is sitting under the country. By the way, you cannot edit it. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so you can see you can only change the display name. And let's do what we can do. Yeah, I think that's better. Let's change the display name because the actual name you cannot do it. Right, so 250 and enable change tracking. I want to see. So now you can see anyone who's going to change it. I'm gonna log those changes, right? And later on we can produce a report to show back to the business that who has applied changes on this on this entity, right? So let me just save it. Awesome. And I'm going to country, let me just country codes. Letters. Generally, we have course. Let me just letter, right? And yeah, I'm just going to let me just reduce the because it's only 2 and length is going to be, let me just keep it to the 5. Yeah, I need to take, it's going to be text, and let me save it. And then I can come in here. Sorry, it's going to be 2 letters. Let me just copy that. I'm all good. Yeah, save it. All right. Let me just add one more attribute. It's going to be 3 letters, right? Or it's going to be 3 letters country code. Good. I'm just going to reduce it to 50, and I'm going to length is going to again to 5. Yeah, I need to change, enable the change tracking. It's safe. And I think with this, our first entity is ready to used. So if we come back now, the same dropdown which was empty in initially, because now we have a model and we have its first version that we are using. By default, it allocate the version number, which is obviously starting with 1. And you can see the model name is now displaying. If you have multiple models, they're gonna display in the dropdown. Now we can come in here and we can explore it. And so you can see I have reduced the display length, so that's why it's just behaving like this. But anyway, what we can do, we can come in here. So country name, yeah, code, you can see I'm not allowed to enter because it will automatically generate a code for me. So 2-letter AU, 3-letter AUS, and yeah, annotation. I'm not going to do add anything in here. I don't think we have any history available, so that's fine. What I'm gonna do, let me just hit okay. So you can see we have our record has been successfully added, right? So which is showing me that I'm good. Let me just see if there is anything. No, it's not. Okay, perfect. Okay, I can move it. I'm just trying to adjust the screen on in here. So you can see the record has been created. So we can apply some additional rule from the master data perspective. That is not the part of this video, but in this video we have already seen. Now in the next video I'm going to show you how we can interact with the same entity through the Excel interface. In order to do it, I need to install the Excel on my machine, and then we'll go and we'll see if we can add the Excel plugin and use the Excel use the master data services through the Excel interface, because most people, they don't like to use the web interfaces, and web interface is not very I would say user friendly. But one of the power of the master data services, it provides you the Excel interface as well, so business can go their way and they can manage that information in through the Excel. So that's all about in this video. I believe you like it. In this video, we have seen how we can create a model, how we can create the entity. That's gonna lead us towards the next step. We're gonna build a very good data quality framework, and we'll try to see if we can address all the attributes of data governance in this work. So that will really help you to bring the governance or compliance across your data, which is lacking a lot in these modern enterprises in these days, right? So thanks for watching. If you have any question, please feel free to put in the comments. More than happy to answer. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you in the next video.